Children don't just disappear on their own. That's not how it works. It doesn't work that way. Something happened. Someone knows. Someone is responsible. I'm Vinny Politan. Great to see you. Great to have you aboard, folks. Wow. Here we are. Here we are. I can't believe we're still here. And there's still no evidence, no leads, no clues, no arrests, nothing, no information. How does that work? Explain to me how that works. Having a hard time. Because it shouldn't work this way. It just should not work this way. 15-year-old child with autism disappears and I don't know. There's no evidence of anything. Are you telling me this is either the perfect escape runaway by a 15-year-old with autism on medication, or this is the perfect crime, one or the other? Is that what we're saying here? No evidence, no leads, no suspects, no nothing. No evidence of foul play. So here we are in the case of Sebastian Rogers. I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe, do all the things you need to do, folks, to keep us going here. It's great to have everyone here. The question I posed is, why is Sebastian's father still not cleared? He was on my show the other night and talked about it. And it's very concerning to him because he believes it's really hindering his access to information, hindering everything. So, I mean, isn't that the way investigations should go? You look at the people closest, and then you fully investigate. And everything he has said is that he has been completely cooperative, willing to do a lie detector, gave up his phone, everything else, alibi at work at the time. I'm trying to understand what it would take for him to be cleared. I don't understand. What do they potentially suspect out there? And I guess anything is on the table, right? If you're an investigator with no evidence or no information, but at the same time, there's nothing. There's nothing. Wow. Absolutely nothing. And that's frustrating, because if there's nothing at this point, when will there be something? Like what could possibly happen? There have been extensive searches that have continued. Like if he went off on his own, but first of all, if he's leaving in the middle of the night on his own, how and why would he leave? Right? For me, it was always thinking about, well, maybe someone lured him there under something. Well, then there would be some digital. There would be something that would indicate that. And then presumably there would be many more people who know, many more opportunities for someone to talk. And if it was in fact a classmate or someone like that, how limited was his interaction on the World Wide Web, on the internet? Could he have been targeted by someone pretending to be someone else and to get him to a particular place? Did he leave on his own? Could he have left? I guess it's possible, but why would he leave without shoes? Why would he leave without a phone? None of that makes sense, does it? Of course it doesn't. Of course it doesn't. There's nothing about the circumstances that at least we believe to be true that would lead to him walking away on his own. There's nothing. There's nothing. Obviously, anything and everything is possible. Everything's on the table. We get it. There's no suspects, no evidence, no leads, no nothing. But did he leave without his shoes? Like if that part of this is true, that there's no evidence that he had shoes on his feet, where is he going? Where is he going? How far is he going? Really, like, and how would he not be found or seen or spotted or someone said something? If he's lured by some creeper or something, in a gaming app or somewhere else, somehow was able to make contact with him, how would there not be some trail of that somewhere? Because I've got to believe they've investigated all of that, including his phone. I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense to anyone, but it seems that there had to be something somewhere that caused this to happen, right? Tension in the home, an argument, a fight, a threat, something like that. Someone luring him, or someone creating a situation making him want to run away. But without shoes, come on. And there's zero. And by the way, they're saying nothing about this as well. So what happens to the cases where there's no evidence, no leads, no anything, and they're not saying anything? I think there was a big lesson in the Delphi case in retrospect, right? I mean, ultimately they arrest Richard Allen. And he is someone who told some form of law enforcement that he was there that day. And years later, I guess they find the clothes that are similar, and he's got a similar build, et cetera, all of that. But, they got buried. Someone didn't see that piece of paper. Like, no one thought through all those years. All right, let's go back. Who was there that day? Who do we know was there that day? And it's one of the guys. This is the guy they arrest. It's insanity. It's insanity. That's why when stories like this happen, I tend to give the benefit of the doubt to investigators and to law enforcement. I always do. But then I have a story like Delphi where it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. And if Richard Allen is the one actually responsible, you knew about him on day one or beginning of day two. I forgot when his interview was, but you knew about him. And how much did you didn't investigate him for 5 years, 7 years, whatever it was? That makes no sense to me. No sense. So what will it take to clear Sebastian's father, who from all accounts seems pretty connected to trying to get to the bottom of this? Now, I've seen parents in all different circumstances. And I know we all react differently, yada, 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 yada. But I've been doing this for a long time. And I've seen parents with missing children in different scenarios, all different scenarios. And there's a little bit of a pattern. The ones who are really looking for their child and are looking for an answer and are obsessed, and it's the most important. I mean, they are there day in and day out. They're not letting it go. And by the way, they are very public about it. And you can, say whatever you want. Say what you want about it. But I know I'm in the media. I want people to talk. But I think sunshine helps these days. And you can go after the internet, and you can say, oh, it's a bad thing. Rumors that it breathes life into stories. It keeps faces in the public eye, and it keeps pressure going. Whether it's a podcast, a live stream, stories on the local news, stories on national news like Court TV. It keeps the pressure on, and it keeps people talking. It does keep people talking. So if more than one person knows about something, then someone may be more likely to talk about it. Because at this point, that seems like that's the only place where this is going. if the physical evidence, the digital footprint, none of that has led anywhere, then it seems like you've got to hope that more than one person knows about this, about what happened. And that other person will speak, will have a reason to speak. So how do we get to clearing someone? Well, someone gets cleared when they are completely open and provide everything they can. And what Seth Rogers is saying, and has told me and has told everyone else, that he is ready, willing, and able. Here, what else do you need? Just clear me. Because he won't. Sometimes he sounds more frustrated than other times. I think he tries to control himself, right? For obvious reasons. But my goodness, it's his child. It's his child. And there are great members of law enforcement who want to solve cases, but no one wants it solved more than a child's parent, period. Give me a break. It's like when you go to you're in with the doctor, you're at the hospital, all the doctors, they all want to do good. Well, they've got more than one thing going on. And that's why every patient needs an advocate, whether it's an adult child or a parent or a brother, sister, uncle, friend, whatever it is. Once you get in that system, you need an advocate to get the kind of care that you need. Otherwise, things can get overlooked. And it's the same thing when it comes to missing children. You need like that squeaky wheel to keep the pressure on, but can also help. Because who's going to know more about Sebastian than his parents? Nobody. Nobody's going to know more about him than his parents. They're a great resource. But in order to use them as a resource, you've got to clear them. And law enforcement said everyone's cooperating. No problem with the cooperation. Well, can you clear them and then up the level of cooperation? It's not there. It's not there. I don't know. Is that really helping the investigation? Solving it might be more difficult than clearing someone. Clearing someone, if you have them there and they're willing to sit down, they're willing to answer questions, they're willing to show and tell you everything. What more is needed? Where are the holes? If there's holes in someone's story, let them know where the holes are, and if they can fill them, they'll try to fill them. If they can't, they can't. But it's not, and I understand law enforcement. Close to the vest. Is that what they call it? Close to the chest or close to the vest? I never knew that saying. Which one is it? So I know they're just not showing their cards. Maybe they need to show a card or two. Or maybe they need a little more help. Where's the help going to come from? Where's the help going to come from? All right. Roxy's World. Has anyone been named suspects? No, I haven't heard of anyone being not cleared. It's a game, Vinny. I don't know what it is. There's no evidence, no clues, no motive, no nothing. What is going on here? Elise, Vinny, I can't see Court TV streaming online anymore to watch your nightly program. I'm so disappointed. Of course you could see it. It's on every night. CourtTV.com, if you want to watch it on a computer, CourtTV.com, live stream, 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, closing arguments, streaming live for free on your computer or on a Court TV app on your phone. 9 to 10, streaming live for free, Vinny Politan Investigates. So we're definitely streaming online. No doubt, Elise. Sometimes even YouTube. Court TV's YouTube takes the feed sometimes, once in a while. But CourtTV.com, yeah, every night. And on the app. Look, I can go on the app right now. I go on the Court TV app, stream live now, probably be a commercial. All right, here we go. Public Administrator Robert Tellis is accused of killing veteran journalist Jeff Gehrman. Now, it's Court TV. Court TV has an app. You just go on the App Store and you can do it there. Or depending upon, I don't know what service you have for TV, it's there. If you're on your computer, courttv.com. We got you. At least we got you. All right. Hello to everyone that's watching. We got a lot of folks. The real Dolly Vision is here. Good to know. Thanks for watching. Gen X, of course, keeping order in the court with Melly, keeping order in the court with Frankie Figs, keeping order in court. And there we go. All right. Pick me. How can they clear anyone? Who's to say it wasn't planned with all three of them? Who knows at this point? Well, like if someone is looking to be cleared and is vocally saying, please clear me, what do I need to do? How about starting with a conversation about that? Well, okay, you gave us your phone, but this, we want to see that. Where were you then? Who were you talking to then? Do you have, witnesses at work who saw you there? I don't know what else can be done. I'll tell you what, if you tried charging him with something, I think you'd have a great defense with an alibi being at work. I don't think you could prove the case against him. So I don't know. I don't know what we're talking about. Unless, as you're saying, pick me, he's part of a conspiracy. So he's not being cleared because he's conspiring with the others. All right. Well, look at the phone. Like, is he talking to someone like often? All right. If he's talking to someone often, who are you talking to often? What are you talking to him about? I'm sure he'd be willing to go in and be interrogated if you want to interrogate him. I don't know. But the level of frustration, you have a missing son and people are telling you there's no evidence, no clues, no suspects, no nothing. You'd get a little frustrated. And again, like anything can happen, anything is possible. Like Elizabeth Smart, we know how strange that ending was. Things like that are possible. Vinny being a diva, arriving late, 2 minutes late, buddy. Well, Elaine McKenzie. No, just doing the things I have to do because right after the show, I've got to go to the studio to do my other show. So I was working on my hair, So maybe I was being a diva. You're right. You got it. All right. Let's see who else is here today. Oh, wait, I've got to hit a button to go onto the Instagram. All right. We're now live on Instagram as well. Ashley, we need answers. This poor boy. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Has the mom? No one's been cleared. No one's been cleared of anything. The problem is they don't know what happened, right? What happened? Was it, did he run away? The only way there wasn't foul play here is if he on his own got up and walked out of the house and somehow, some way found a way to disappear without a trace. Personally, I think that's the most unlikely scenario, but it is possible. There are lots of stories, usually a little bit younger, children with autism that end up near water, but usually younger. He's a teenager as well. There's a combination, right? He's not just a child, a teenager. Teenagers are going through changes at age 15. Addicted to STS. Finally caught alive. Vancouver Island, British Columbia, Canada loves Vinny. Thank you. Thank you for watching from British Columbia. Right. Mm. Turk Watson. Seth should be clear. He was at work on camera. That's my understanding. Obviously, I haven't seen all the videos. But if that's the case, what else do you need? What else do you need? Unless they believe he's part of a conspiracy. Conspiracy with whom? And are they just not clearing because they don't know what happened? Is it semantics? Is it semantics, right? So, in a Emmer, regular Emmer type of investigation where you've got the victim, right? You've got the body or whatever. And you have some sort of a timeline and you've got a specific place where something took place. It's easier perhaps at that point to clear people because you have more specific information about what happened to the victim. Here, you don't know. So it could just be a matter of semantics, making it impossible to clear someone because you don't know what happened. I'm just trying to understand it, right? Understand their thought. And it's a very relationship sometimes between law enforcement and the family. Because there are times where the family has to be looked at. And sometimes the family's not cleared. Sometimes the family is under suspicion, but ends up being 1000% innocent. Creates a little bit of friction. But I always look for the family that is looking to be cleared, which means you are inviting more scrutiny. Like if you're inviting the scrutiny, well, if you're inviting the scrutiny, then is it because you have nothing to hide? Because you legitimately want to be on the same page with law enforcement doing this search, trying to figure out what happened and where your child is. That's the way I see it. Again, this is based upon speaking with and covering victims through the years. Glenda, hey, Vinny and the mods. I don't want to always say it, but how many moms choose the guy and get rid of the kid? Glenda, mezzocapo. What does that mean? Half a head? Glenda, yeah. I see what you're saying. I think everyone's saying it because we've seen it. But, you never want to believe it. But what is at play? And this is the job of investigators, is to figure out what was at play in the household where he was actually living. What were the issues that existed in the home where he was living? And has a clear picture of that been created? Is there a clear understanding of the family dynamics and the household dynamics? Right? That's important because that's where he was living. First and foremost, most important thing. And with those dynamics, create some sort of reaction. Serenity 72, all windows, doors locked, no sign of him walking out, no sign of break-in. Only thing on camera are the 3 a.m. lights. That was not a garbage truck, and none of those lights going back towards the Proudfoots. This is all there is. Windows, doors locked. No sign of him walking out. No sign of a break-in. Only thing on camera, the 3 a.m. lights. That was not a garbage truck. And one of those lights going back towards the Proudfoots. What are the lights? Michelle L. Thank you, Serenity 72. Laying it out, right? Laying out what little we know. But I don't know if there's more to know, right? Michelle L. Goes to another important fact. Did he ever arrive home from the restaurant that night? Did law enforcement check her receipt from BJ's to see what she bought and if those things were in the home? That's a great avenue of investigation. Right? Where's the last proof of life? And then there's, the proof of what the family is saying. Okay, who was the last person not directly connected to the family that saw him? What did they see? Where did they go? What was the route from the restaurant home? Are there any surveillance videos of that? Any traffic cameras, anything on that ride back from the restaurant to the house? Thank you, Michelle L. Oh, Jennifer Sube also working today. We got the mod squad in effect. All right. Pretty imperfect. SebastianRogers missing since February 26, 2024. Amazingly, that's same date of Madeline Soto. Think about how much further that investigation has gone. And we're hoping for a better ending, though, for this one. Hendersonville, Tennessee, age 15, white, brown hair, brown eyes, glasses, we hope, 5'5", 113. Seeing a lot of interesting comments here. Very, very interesting. Why would he leave without his shoes on? If that's true, that makes no sense. That would make no sense unless someone grabbed him or forced him at gunpoint or knife point. Melly, hello, beautiful humans. Vinny, I really like VPI on Court TV. That's the new 9 o'clock hour, the new live 9 o'clock hour of my show on Court TV. All right, hit the like, folks. Thank you, Melly Mel. I see a lot of split vibes people have on the two sets of parents, right? I wish they were working together, like really working together, but that's not the case. And we've seen that in other cases. Jean P. This is similar to the missing Summer Wells story. To a certain extent, right? Summer Wells just disappeared. Come on. She just went downstairs. Summer Wells went downstairs and then just disappeared. Like where? Yeah, unfortunately, we could end up in the same place. It's an unsolved case, which is the worst. Gen X reminded everyone to watch tonight at 8 o'clock. Less than 3 hours away. Oh, closing arguments tonight. I'll give you a little preview of what we got going on tonight. So 8 o'clock closing arguments, we'll be talking about A couple of stories. Robert Tellis was a politician out in Vegas, and there was an investigative reporter who was writing some pieces on him. He ended up losing his reelection bid. 3 months later, the investigative reporter was stabbed to death. So Robert Tellis is the one being accused of it. He's a little bit of a loose cannon. At one point was representing himself. I don't think he's representing himself, but I'm still not sure how that's going down inside the courtroom. But that trial starts this week, and we'll be taking a close look at that tonight. We've got some insight into all of that. Thank you, Gen X. Then at 9 o'clock, I'm Vinny Politan Investigates. Maya Miliete. I'm sure you're all familiar with that story out of Chula Vista, California. We're back on the ground in Chula Vista. Got our drones up in the sky, and taking a look at all the issues in that case involving spellcasters and an alibi. We're going to look at his alibi, actually drive his alibi, so you can see what it really entails. So we've got that coming up tonight at 9. Thank you, Gen X. Let's see. This is interesting. Debbie W. If I was Seth, I'd be at the sheriff's office every day. Right? Yeah, you always, you think about this. How would you act? How would you react? What would you do? What would you say? And remember, we all come from our own perspective. Like, the thing about these stories that I always keep in mind when judging people and people involved is that we don't know them. Like, we didn't know what they looked like or how they acted before all this happened. So it's difficult for us to sometimes fully understand the way they're reacting to a situation, or just the way they are, what type of person they are, whether they're an introvert, an extrovert, someone who has a certain personality, whatever it is that may rub you the wrong way. Well, it may have rubbed you the wrong way before it ever happened. So that, to me, that's always the challenge in trying to ascertain whether someone looks like they could or could not be involved, are or are not telling the truth, are truly concerned or putting on a show or an act for us. Sometimes the acting is obvious, though. We have to admit, sometimes the acting is very obvious. We've seen those cases. But because you don't have that baseline of who someone is and whether you would, sometimes you get that feeling and that vibe from someone, but you may get that same vibe before the disappearance, before the case started, just because of that's the way they are. So that's why sometimes it takes me a while to try to figure someone out. Sometimes, you get that first impression, but you have to dig a little deeper and get and understand their backstory a little bit more about who they are and what's going on. I mean, what we do know about the life of Sebastian Rogers is that it was not a great breakup. This was not a great breakup. And there were ongoing issues, as there are in many of these stories. But he's also a child who is now 15 years old, and he's a child with autism. So you put that combination together, it can help fester and manifest itself into some sort of tension in the air, or tension between people that could cause someone to do something, whether it's Sebastian doing something or someone doing something to Sebastian. And Laura Wagner puts it this way: poor kid caught up in his parents' BS. Yeah. And you got to make sure that kids aren't caught up in the middle of it. Now, we do know that there were some legal proceedings involving Katie against a YouTube live streamer, trying to get some sort of protective order, restraining order, or whatever. And the way those things go is basically you go to court and you just go on your own. The other person doesn't show up. So it's one side that is presented to the judge to get that order of protection, and the other side can then go to court afterwards to try to get it dropped or whatever. Or sometimes you don't bother, if you don't really care whether it exists or not. So that's some of the other drama that's going on there. And that could be part of the explanation for the way the other side hasn't been as public, is that they feel like they were targeted by the media and by social media out of the box, and are not comfortable in public because nothing good seems to come out of it. I get it. And that's understandable. Like if you've just experienced the worst loss ever, like your child is missing, and then all of a sudden people are like pointing the finger at you. How public are you going to be? The thing that bothers me the most, though, is because I've seen parents who have been sort of in the public target area, but they still continue to do anything and everything to find their child. So I've seen it both ways, and I've seen some that just sort of curl up and just want to disappear and just want to grieve on their own or suffer on their own. So to have zero evidence at this point, the case that had these many eyes on it was making this many headlines, I don't think they would have swept it under the rug. I think they would have attempted to dot the I's and cross the T's of the basic initial investigation, which includes, of course, which would include hold on one second. I have to respond to this. It's a work text message. I'm sorry. Broke my train of thought, but I have to respond to it. It's about tonight's show, so. Okay. Tightening up the booking of our guests, that's all. Okay, where was I? Lindsay Spry. Hello, Vinny. Hello, Linda. Okay, jack of all trades. Why is he so focused on being cleared? Kind of suspect. Being cleared will not find his son. Well, there's a couple of things. One, if you're cleared, would that open up the dialogue with law enforcement for a little more communication? You're not going to communicate with someone who's a suspect, but someone who's been cleared, maybe you'll communicate a little bit more. Perhaps. Get maybe a little more cooperation in coordinating searches. Perhaps. Putting the focus on situations and scenarios not involving yourself. Putting more resources toward those. I don't know. If no one's cleared, that means everyone is a suspect, or not everyone is potentially a suspect. And it may just be that because they don't know what happened, they don't want to take that affirmative step of clearing someone. All right. Do we have people being naughty in the chat room tonight? I don't know. I can't tell. All right, Patricia Evans. So, did they clear the stepfather? No one. Nobody cleared. What I would like to see And I think like there's two approaches to this. How much public help should law enforcement be looking for? Personally, I believe in a case where, like, if you know who did it, if you know what happened, you know who did it, you're just putting the pieces together to prove it, to get enough. You're like, well, we really don't need so much help. We just need to get a couple little pieces that we're looking for, and we don't want to jeopardize anything by releasing any information. I get that. But if you're really at like square one, I think an update, you know, I think an update, a monthly update takes you 5 minutes. You don't even have to have a press conference. You can drop a video and say, hey, here's the latest in this case. We've been looking here, looking there. We stopped searching here. We're investigating that, blah, blah, blah. If you have information, please come forward. That's what I think law enforcement should be doing at a minimum, on all cases that have not been solved. Instead, they just they go over to the side here, and unless everyone's beating the drum, sometimes you may never hear about it. I've spoken to a lot of families through the years who have ended up in that situation where their story, their case has ended up on that pile where nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. They're waiting for something to fall in their lap, but and it's interesting, like sometimes how just a new investigator, a new chief, a new sheriff suddenly can change everything. The Long Island case, that one was dormant for a reason, because law enforcement in that case wanted it to remain dormant for years because of their own problems. But then a new task force, and they moved quickly because they were motivated and they were working. Why? Maybe you do something like that for a Summer Wells case, for this case, for other cases. Pale rider, no body, no crime. Isn't that the way they look at it? Not necessarily. There are a lot of cases that are prosecuted without a body. But what they have that we don't have here, pale rider, is evidence of foul play, which is what they have, evidence of nothing here. So at least that's what they're saying. So no body, no crime. It's more no body, no evidence, no crime. And I think that's the way they're looking at it. This is a big issue, right? I think this is a legit issue. Jordan Davies, do you think some of these YouTube creators are causing issues with the case? I think some of them need to walk away and let the police do their job. I'm not in 100% agreement with that. I think there's a line that shouldn't be crossed, right? So, for instance, let's go to the Karen Reed case where there were allegations that a YouTube live streamer crossed the line in that case. It was under different circumstances than we're talking about here, but someone did cross that line. It's not even clear that the line was crossed there. A jury's going to have to decide that, or a judge is going to have to decide that in terms of freedom of speech, First Amendment. So you've got First Amendment, YouTubers creating issues within the case. What's interesting is the more sunshine is put on something, the more it is disinfected. And what I'm saying is if there is something to be uncovered here, I think more eyes on something is always better because you don't know where that lead is going to come from. You really don't. It's interesting how some people will feel comfortable coming forward to a live streamer and saying something that they may have a mistrust of police. Now, I'm not saying that's the case in this case, but there are cases where people have come forward, but are careful about who they come forward to. That's why I think more people talking about it, the more sunshine, the more chance that that happens. And in a case where there's no active lead, no suspect, no evidence of foul play, what are we talking about? What are they interfering with? Now, there's been allegations of harassment, right? Is it harassment? Is it not? A judge would have to determine that if someone's going to be charged with something. But obviously, you're not permitted to harass people. You're not permitted to defame people, right? So that, accusing someone of committing a crime, whether it's on YouTube or it's on CBS News or on the New York Times, it's all the same. It's all defamation. I'm a lawyer. I know that. You accuse someone of committing a crime and they did not commit it, well, they could sue you for defamation. And if they sue you for defamation, it becomes a lawsuit, then you get deposed, they get deposed. What's a defense to defamation? What's the first defense? The truth. So if you accuse someone of killing someone and they say, I'm suing you for defamation, if you could show that they killed someone, you win, they lose. But all those checks and balances exist. So if in fact someone's being wrongfully accused of something, they can bring legal action against whoever is doing it. Whether you're doing it in a chat, you're doing it on a video, you're doing it on television, you're doing it in a newspaper, in a letter to the editor. I mean, it doesn't matter. If you are accusing someone of something they did not do. Now, if you accuse someone of doing something that they did not do, then they could be entitled to take your money. That's the way it works. So whatever accusations are made, whether it's YouTube creators are in the same place as anyone else, any other citizen, any other journalist, any other network, any other newspaper. It's all the same. It's just newspapers and networks tend to get sued more often because they actually have the money to pay the damages if someone wins against them. So, yeah, well, I think if you've gotten to the point where you are crossing a line, then you definitely need to walk away. Definitely need to walk away. But if nothing's happening, then it is members of the media and people on social media who can keep a story alive and keep the search alive. April Powell, Art Yomenko. Hi, Vinny. Thank you for continuing to cover this story. Prayers that Sebastian is found one day. Yeah. And I think all of us are with you, April, on that. And obviously there are challenges. But we don't know. And remember how much hope some of us had when that photograph started circulating on social media a month ago or whenever that was. So Renee, Ref Snyder. This is awesome, Vinny. Thank you, Renee. Appreciate it. Thank you. Mhm. Cat Miller, FBI involved. Sumner County is just the lead. Yeah, somebody's got to get the lead. FBI usually doesn't lead these, but they provide support. They'll provide support if necessary. Miss Oden with a what's up to Gen X. What's up, beautiful? Nikki Turner watching 24/7. All right, fantastic. Lindsay Shea with a great point here. I can watch for free on my smart TV also. Yes. A couple different ways you can watch on your smart TV, but if you have a Samsung television, I think it's called Samsung Plus. Like Samsung has their own streaming service that is built into your television, and Court TV is on there. It's like channel 3,400 and something, I think. But you can definitely watch there. You can also watch on, thank you, Lindsay. You can also watch on the Roku app like Donna Edwards Booker does with her big glasses. Those are huge glasses. Huge. Okay, little side conversation going on here. Gina F. Suspected of what, though? What's the crime? Someone wrote, because Seth is a suspect. Suspected of what, though? What's the crime? What is the crime? Right? There's no evidence of foul play. So if there's no evidence of foul play, there's no crime. Teenagers can run away. And law enforcement deals with that a lot. If you watch the headlines every day, missing child, a lot of them are teenagers. Some of them have been taken. Some of them have been lured, and some have run away. So it's a combination. They always have to deal with that. Mm-hmm. Court TV is watching. Hello, Court TV. Vinny Polity, I wonder if they are an international viewer. I'm not sure. Oh, international streamer. Must not be a free country if they don't allow Court TV. Frozen, Vinny. Kelsey says I'm frozen. I don't know if am I frozen? I don't think so. I look good on my end here, but I don't know what it looks like on your end. Pretzels and cornbread. Are these current photos, Sebastian, on the screen? If not, where are the most current photos and why are they not shared? There was a bunch of pictures. These ones, I believe, are two of the most recent. We'll flash some more on there. But I think there's a lot of pictures. Some he's a little bit younger. This one looks pretty recent. There he is with the trophy. Titch, Seth is not a suspect. I believe law enforcement are playing KP and CP. They won't clear Seth because that'll put PFs on edge. They want CP to be confident as he can't help but tell on himself. Interesting. Yeah, you don't know what the theory is, but that's you don't know what game they're playing. And when I say game, not like a fun game, like an investigatory game of trying to get someone to say something or do something. And we don't know. There may be some sealed warrants that have been executed in the case as well. That's possible. You need probable cause for it, but. All right. Mary Freyer says possibly clearing Seth because they feel like he may be protecting KP. KP. Hmm. That's an interesting dynamic there. Although I do believe that there is some I don't think they're on the best of terms, Seth and KP. But you never know. It's possible. Dolly Vision making a lot of waves in our chat right now. Okay. Sandy makes a great point. No parent is perfect. None of us are. None of us are. None of these are guilty by evidence. Law enforcement is going by evidence or lack of it. Nobody's cleared. Katie's not evil and Seth's not a saint. There we go. Nobody's perfect. Lisa, Seth has a rock solid alibi. I think the only way, if the whole alibi works, I haven't seen the videos myself, but I understand that if you're at work, you're at work, especially in his profession. Then it would the other allegation would be a potential conspiracy, right? To get a third person involved to do something for you or with you. But where's the evidence of that? Oh, here's Shaza. I can't watch live stream as you go anymore. I'm in UK. Used to be able to watch on the phone and iPad. It says it's only available on Sky, but can only watch it live when it's on Facebook, YouTube, such as the Black Swan trial. So not sure I can. What is going on overseas? This is an outrage. The Court TV is being, that's not good. We have a lot of very passionate great viewers in the UK. I'll have to research what's going on there. All right. Yeah, I see a lot of people saying there has to be a crime for people to be cleared. Mm-hmm. And Colin Sini reminding us that Summer Wells just disappeared from her home in East Tennessee and has not been found yet. Kathy Vasilou just installed the Court TV app. Awesome. He can take us wherever we are. Mm-hmm. Here's a question. Did the stepfather ever get searched GPS route to Memphis? Well, hasn't been made public, but I've got to think that would be like Investigation 001. I think the first thing you would do would be, even without a warrant, you can ask someone, hey, can I see this? Can I see this? Can you provide this? Can you provide that? So that's, I would assume that got done. If it wasn't done voluntarily, then you'd have to get a warrant to get some of that information. But they said everyone was cooperating. So I always assumed, maybe I shouldn't, that the cooperation would include let us see where you were, show us your phone, give us access to your phone, give us access to your GPS, whatever sort of information that could track where you are. Tell us who you were with, all things like that. To me, that's important. My cat's name is Karen. Put these 3 on Dr. Phil and let's see who's lying. One of those 3 people knows. Wow. That would be an interesting spot, Karen. And Dr. Phil's got his thing going now. He's got his own network, by the way, in Texas. Powerhouse. Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil has a way, right? When he puts everyone out there together. That would be interesting. Interesting. All right. Arctic Wolf Angel. I left home at 14 years old. Arctic Wolf. Were they looking for you? Did you, and when I say looking for you, were you trying to stay off the radar? And the question is, could Sebastian, a child with autism, whatever his spectrum issues are, is that something he could accomplish, like staying below the radar without money? All right, folks, we're getting close to the witching hour here. Michelle L., they don't know what they don't know until they do. They don't know what they don't know until they do. That actually makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. Look at this. Hello, Vinny. Shout out from Qualicum Beach, Vancouver Island, Canada. Canada. Discerning 8. I work directly for Seth. Law enforcement told Seth they have no proof he left the home or barefoot. Come to the vigil coming up. Discerning 8. Thank you, Discerning 8. All right. Well, you know what happens, folks. I have to take off. Would like to stay longer, but I have 2 hours of live television to do tonight on Court TV. 8 to 9, it is closing arguments. 9 to 10, it is Vinny Politan Investigates. Both shows live. In between the two, I do a wardrobe change. It's the most nerve-wracking 4 minutes of the night. It's like the pressure is on. And tonight's going to be a little more difficult because I'm wearing cufflinks. That's going to add an extra 20 seconds to the wardrobe change. I got my V cufflinks on tonight for the 8 o'clock show. So I'm going to have to take those off. All right. Captain Jenks, law enforcement should release the BJ's Texas Roadhouse footage. What would it hurt at this point? It would not hurt at this point. As a matter of fact, it might, well, first of all, it would splash all over local news, which might raise more information from people who say, oh, wait a minute. Now I remember. Like, why not? There's no reason not to, Captain Jenks. I agree. 2,000%. 2,000%. Oh, Mick Spunky reporting for duty. Vinny, Gen X, Melly, and Jennifer Sube. Mick Spunky in the house. Thank you, Mick Spunky. I was a little worried. We almost finished the show without Mick Spunky, and that would not be a good thing. That would not be a good thing. All right. Just doing my final scroll here. Oh, wow. I'm way behind. Oh, my goodness. If I missed any of your great comments, it's just because I ran out of time. Wow. I'm on super speed scrolling right now just to see how many comments there are. It's nuts. It's nuts. You guys are awesome. Hope you had a good conversation in the chat room. Thanks to Gen X, Frankie Figs, Jennifer Sube, and Melly for keeping law and order in there and keeping things going. Vinny, what's your opinion of the father of a missing child having a tip line? Music City Mom, too. I would do it. I would do it. I would forward every tip to law enforcement, but I would have a tip line to make sure nothing slipped through any crack. I'd also, I don't know if I could go back to work, I'll be honest with you. Although in my business, I might use my work as my platform. Spirit Seeker Squad. Vinny, can you recall a missing case where any parent has been cleared publicly by law enforcement trying to find the case? Chat said Mark Class, but any others? I'd have to think on that. Nothing comes to mind right off the top of my, but that's a great point. Spirit Seeker Squad. But Mark Class, yeah. Mark Class is a great example. Like, you're not going to let go. You're not going to let go. You're not going to stop. Nothing will prevent you. Nothing will stop you. Nothing will deter you. And it's a tough spot. It's a tough spot for anybody and everybody, because you become a public figure. And, you know, if that's not your choice, if that's not your personality, it's much more difficult. I understand. I get it. I get it big time. Okay. Thank you, everyone in the chat room. Thank you to the Mod Squad. Don't forget to watch just over 2 hours live on Court TV, your front row seat to justice. 8 to 9 closing arguments, 9 to 10 Vinny Politan investigates. 2 hours live, true crime, unscripted with me. Thank you all. I'll see you soon again here on the live stream. I will see you on the TV tonight. And again, had a work email. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I'm here as much as I can be. It's been a little sporadic recently because of the launch of the new 9 o'clock hour. So that's been, it's been a lot. It's been a lot, but we've got it up and going. So hopefully I'll be here much more regularly and on Friday with the tangents. So have a great night, everyone. And as always, please don't forget to hug the kids.